A zero trust model cares about who you are and what you should have access to, not about where you're logging from, not about what IP address you have, not about what application you're trying to access from what. It cares about who you are. So it focuses on dynamic and contextual data analysis to ensure right users are permitted to access at the right time. And that's the other interesting thing. It's mentioned a couple times in this presentation. Timing can play into it as well. If you know your job you don't ever need to log in at 3 a.m., then you can set it up such that roles don't have access to resources at all outside of whatever business hour or mission critical hours are needed for that particular role. So that can be useful at times. We can talk about how setting up these roles and permissions, you can get really granular, and sometimes granularity can, in my industry, the term over-engineering is used for something like that. If you have to make sure that it's worth the overhead to put into it. But once you have a proper model in place, suddenly you can start looking at things like this. Endpoint security and application security, and those are different things. On one hand, you're focusing on monitoring and maintaining device health, and on the other, you're managing the application layer. And those can be different things, especially if in a more modern architecture, we're looking at applications virtualized. We're looking at virtual applications, whether they're in the cloud or they're on your desktop. Endpoint security becomes a different beast. It becomes closer to hardware. And then we have data security, which focuses on the data itself, in transit, how it's stored, who has access to it, et cetera. You might have access to the application, but your role may not have access to data. Some of the data in the application, right? Visibility and analytics, automation. So these two parts in the 8 pillars are more about efficiency, reporting, auditing, compliance, and being able to iterate on, your business, the organization. So we focus on monitoring your network and other assets, improve threat detection and analysis to make informed security decisions quicker. And also focus on automating some of the more traditionally manual security processes that apply policies consistently across the enterprise. And then we have infrastructure security and network security. And I think it's interesting that they're broken out, right? Because network security is still going to be network security. That's not going away, but it is going to look different. It's going to be very interesting how things will change, because security monitoring, network monitoring from a security standpoint, but also from a NOC standpoint, right? From an uptime standpoint, it's all going to look very different. It's going to be a lot more based on assets. What are my assets doing? What are my physical assets doing? What kinds of virtual assets? How are they communicating? And monitoring that is going to look different. Infrastructure security focuses on systems as a whole, and the security side, again, focuses on unauthorized access, potential vulnerabilities. So there's a lot of overlap between endpoint, infrastructure, and network security, but they all work together.